If you are planning to fly anywhere in 2026, you need to hear this now. Some of the things you have been packing for years without thinking twice are moving from no problem to serious problem very quickly. I am talking about items that can get your bag pulled aside, your flight delayed, and in some cases, your trip completely derailed. And this is not limited to one country. The rules I am about to walk you through are being enforced across the United States and Europe at the same time. Millions of passengers are going to walk into airports next year with no idea that anything has changed. You do not need to be one of them. In this video, I am going to walk you through 7 changes you need to understand before you fly in 2026. We will start with the rules that are already real and getting stricter. Then, toward the end, we will talk about a big change around identification in the United States that is currently being reported and tested, but is still evolving. That last one may decide whether you even reach the security lane, so stay with me. Let us start with something that is absolutely not a rumor. The first big category is power banks and portable chargers. If you travel with a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, you probably carry one. Most people toss it into a bag on autopilot. In 2026, that habit is exactly what will get a lot of checked bags pulled aside. Here is the hard rule. Power banks and spare lithium batteries are banned from checked baggage. Not discouraged, not up to the airline. They simply do not belong in the cargo hold. They must be in your carry-on bag, and they should be packed so the terminals are covered and the device cannot accidentally switch on. The reason is simple. Power banks use lithium-ion batteries. If they are crushed, damaged, or short-circuited, they can go into thermal runaway, a chain reaction where the cell overheats and can catch fire very quickly. In the cabin, smoke is noticed and the crew reacts. In the cargo hold, no one sees anything until it is already dangerous. This rule has existed for years. What changes in 2026 is how seriously it is enforced. Airlines and regulators are under pressure to reduce battery incidents, so checked bags are being scanned more carefully. Anything that looks like a power bank is more likely to be pulled, opened, and removed. So before your next trip, find every power bank you own, check the capacity, and make one simple rule for yourself. Power banks and spare batteries live only in your cabin bag. They never go into your checked suitcase, no matter how rushed you are. The second item on our list is smart luggage. Those sleek suitcases with built-in tracking, USB ports, weight sensors, and remote locking look incredibly convenient. But there is a catch many travelers only discover when they are already at the counter. All of those smart features are powered by a battery, usually a lithium-ion battery built into the shell or handle. And the rule here is very clear. If the battery in your smart suitcase cannot be removed by hand without any tools, that bag can be refused. This rule has been in safety guidance for several years, but enforcement is tightening. In the past, some staff might have made exceptions. In 2026, more airports and airlines are being told to follow the rule exactly. If the battery is not removable, the bag does not fly. Before your next trip, check your smart luggage the way an agent would. Find the battery compartment and try to remove the battery using only your hands. No screwdriver, no tools. If you can pop the battery out easily, you remove it and carry it in the cabin, and the empty suitcase can go in the hold. If you cannot, you need to decide whether to retire that bag from air travel or replace it with a model that has a removable battery. The third area drawing more attention is cordless hair styling tools. Think of cordless curling irons, straighteners, and styling wands. If they are powered by a lithium battery or by a small gas or butane cartridge, they are treated as hazardous items. From a safety point of view, these devices combine 2 risks. A gas-powered tool carries flammable fuel under pressure. A battery-powered tool carries the same thermal runaway risk as a power bank, but in a device whose job is to get hot. That is not something regulators want hidden in the cargo hold. You can still travel with these tools, but you have to do it correctly. In general, Cordless hair tools with batteries or gas cartridges should go in your carry-on, not in your checked baggage. The battery often needs to be switched off with a safety cover or removed completely. Some airlines do not allow spare gas cartridges at all. So ask yourself a question. Do you really need this exact cordless device? Or could a compact corded tool at your destination do the same job? Many frequent travelers now choose lightweight corded tools just to remove one more battery from their luggage. The fourth item on the list is electronic cigarettes and vapes. These have been under strict rules for years, but airlines are enforcing those rules more aggressively, and some countries are passing even tougher laws. The basics are easy to remember. Vapes and e-cigarettes are never allowed in checked baggage. They must travel in your hand luggage. The device should be protected so it cannot accidentally turn on. And you are absolutely not allowed to use them or charge them on the aircraft at any time. On top of airline rules, some countries have banned the import, sale, or even possession of vaping devices outright. That means you could board your flight legally with a vape in your bag, but land in a country where that same device is prohibited and face confiscation, fines, or legal trouble on arrival. If you use a vape and plan to travel in 2026, always pack your device in your carry-on and never in checked luggage, and always check both the airline rules and the laws of your destination country before you fly. Now let us move from what is in your bag to what is in the systems at the border. The fifth change you need to know about is called ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. If you are from a country that currently travels to the Schengen area without a visa, this will apply to you. That includes travelers from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and many more. ETIAS is not a traditional visa. It is a pre-travel authorization you apply for online before your trip. You fill in your details, pay a small fee, currently set at €7 for adults, and wait for a decision. Travelers under 18 and over 70 are expected to be exempt from the fee. Once approved, your authorization is usually valid for 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. The purpose of ETIAS is to check who you are before you even get on the plane. Your information is run through security databases and watch lists. Most applications should be approved automatically within minutes or hours. A small percentage may take longer if something needs a closer look. Here is the critical point. Once ETIAS goes live, airlines will be required to check that you have an approved authorization before they let you board a flight to Europe. If there is no valid ETIAS approval linked to your passport, you will be stopped at check-in or at the gate. You will not get as far as passport control. The system is planned to start in a transition phase in late 2026. Dates can shift, but the direction is clear. The era of just turning up with a passport and no advanced screening is ending for visa-exempt travelers. To be ready, you do not need to obsess over every detail. Just pay attention to official updates. As the launch date approaches, find the real ETIAS website and bookmark it. Only apply through the official portal. When it opens, apply early, get your authorization, and treat it as part of your checklist. Passport, ticket, ETIAS. The sixth big change is closely related, the Entry-Exit System, or EES. For a long time, Schengen borders have relied on ink stamps in passports. In theory, they show when you entered and when you left. In reality, stamps are often messy, missing, or in the wrong place, which makes it hard to enforce the rule that you can only stay 90 days in any rolling period of 180 days. EES replaces those stamps with a digital trail. When you arrive at an external Schengen border for the first time after the system is fully active, you will be asked to provide biometric data, usually fingerprints and a facial image, along with your passport details. That information goes into a central system, and every entry and exit is logged automatically. Once your record is created, it will remain valid for several years. Future entries should be faster because your biometrics are already on file, but every time your passport is scanned, your days are counted. The system will know exactly how long you have stayed in the Schengen area over the last 180 days. For you, that has two practical consequences. On your first trip after EES is fully rolled out, you should expect longer queues at busy hubs like Paris, Amsterdam, and Frankfurt, because every unregistered traveler has to be processed and enrolled. And legally, the 90-day rule becomes a hard line instead of a rough guideline. Overstaying, even by a few days, becomes a digital fact that can lead to warnings, fines, or even a ban from returning. If you are planning extended trips to Europe around 2026, start using a Schengen Day Calculator now. Design your itinerary within the 90-day limit and build extra time into your connections for that first biometric registration. This system is not a temporary experiment. It is the new infrastructure for travel. So far, everything we have talked about is based on confirmed rules and systems. The last item on our list is different. It is about identification in the United States, and it is important to treat it as something that is being reported and tested, not as a final settled rule. The seventh item is what happens if you show up at an American airport without the right ID in 2026. For years, the United States has been moving toward full enforcement of the REALID Act. A REALID compliant driver's license is an upgraded license that meets federal security standards. You can usually spot it by a small star printed in one corner. If your license does not have that star, it is not considered Real ID compliant for air travel. Once enforcement is fully in place, the basic rule is straightforward. To pass through security for a domestic flight, you will need either a Real ID compliant license or another approved document such as a valid passport, passport card, military ID, or a trusted traveler card like Global Entry or Nexus. That part is written into law and has been announced multiple times. On top of that, some news outlets have reported the testing or introduction of a backup option for travelers who arrive without acceptable ID. This has been described as a program sometimes called Confirm ID. In those reports, a traveler without compliant ID might be able to go to a separate lane, pay a fee of around $45, and go through a more intensive identity verification process using biometrics and database checks, valid for a short travel window such as 10 days. The important thing to understand is that this backup option is still an evolving idea. It may exist only at certain airports, the price and rules may change, and verification is not guaranteed. It might rescue some trips that would otherwise be lost, but it is not something you should ever plan around. Real ID itself is not optional. If you ignore it and keep using an old, non-compliant license, you are taking a real risk with your future domestic flights. The safest move is simple. Check your license now, and if you do not see the Real ID star, schedule that DMV appointment long before your next big trip. If there is one principle you take away from this video, let it be this. Do not gamble with airport security. Do not count on a last-minute paid workaround to save you. Policies change, systems go down, lines get long. The only strategy that consistently works is preparation. So let us pull everything together. There are 7 major areas you need to be aware of before you fly in 2026. Power banks and spare batteries belong only in your carry-on, never in your checked luggage. Smart luggage is fine only if its battery can be removed by hand and carried in the cabin. Cordless hair tools that use gas cartridges or lithium batteries are much safer in your hand baggage, if they are allowed at all. Vapes and e-cigarettes must be in your carry-on, never used or charged in flight, and may even be illegal where you land. If you are going to Europe, ETIAS means you will need an online authorization in addition to your passport, and EES means your entries and exits will be tracked digitally, turning the 90-day rule into a real limit, not a suggestion. And in the United States, REALID is moving from background noise to frontline requirement, with some reported backup options like Confirm ID, but nothing that replaces having a valid, compliant ID in your wallet. All of this might sound like a lot. The good news is that once you know the rules, you regain control. You stop being the passenger who is surprised and angry at the checkpoint. You become the one who walks through calmly, bag packed correctly, documents ready, and time buffer built into every connection. Here are a few simple actions you can take as soon as this video ends. Check every piece of luggage you own for built-in batteries and make sure you can remove them by hand. Gather your power banks and label them if you need to, so none of them ever ends up in a checked bag. Look at your hair tools and decide whether a corded version would make travel easier. If you vape, read both the airline rules and the laws of your destination. Then, look at the front of your driver's license. If you live in the United States, does it have the REALID star? If it does not, book that DMV appointment before your next trip. And if Europe is on your radar for late 2026 or beyond, keep an eye on the official ETIAS announcements so you arrive prepared, not confused. Travel does not have to be stressful. With the right information and a little preparation, you can turn chaos into routine. While other passengers argue over confiscated items and stare at closed boarding doors, you can be the one already seated, bag safely stowed, ready for takeoff. If you found this helpful and you want to stay ahead of the next wave of travel changes, make sure you subscribe. I will keep breaking down the rules, the hidden policies, and the practical tips so you never get caught off guard. Share this video with anyone you know who is flying in 2026. They will thank you when they are the calmest person in the security line. Safe travels, and I will see you in the next one.